Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Black Clover. Last time around, what was it called? It's not going to tell me. Well, maybe if I go to episode 84, then look. Oh, Burn It Into You, that was right. Burn It Into You. We continued the match with Team Asta versus Team Langris, and they were... Asta put his trust into Xerx to counterattack, which he was able to do a bit. He was able to protect them, basically, long enough for Asta to assume his black form and defeat Langris. However, both of their crystals were destroyed at the exact same time, so the match ended in a draw. And yeah, that was that. Both of them are out of the tournament. And then after Zora dealt out some critiques to all of them, including himself, we continued on with the rest of the matches, and we basically ended with we're going to start the final match of the tournament, which is Team Rill versus Team Yuno. So, yeah, that is pretty much where we left off. So, yeah. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Black Clover. Here we go. It is an interesting thing that this is kind of the only thing that has genuinely gotten Asta down, you know? Like, not losing his arms, you're losing the use of his arms after fighting with Veto or anything else. Like, this is the first thing that's really made him depressed. Like, almost to the point, I guess, you know, the actual first thing was when he didn't get a grimoire at first, and he was heavily doubting himself, you know? But then he got it, you know? Like, this is the first thing, like, he is in anguish over the fact that he didn't make it to the final match. Because, yeah, I mean, he lost. He lost because Langris did get those critical hits on their crystal, you know? And it's an interesting thing, because the crystal, using the crystal specifically, does add a interesting layer onto these fights, you know? That it's like, well, even with all of that, it's like, well, he did beat Langris. He did. He beat Langris, but Langris got those hits on the crystal, therefore it was a draw. They both lost. And that's an interesting thing, because that then comes up again with the fact that, you know, Yuno and Rill go all out, you know? This ridiculous, immense power that the two of them have. And in a sense, we don't know who won, like, who is actually stronger. Like, we can't actually, like, quantify power levels between the two of them, because we don't actually know how that struggle would have ended if there was no crystal there, you know? Because Yuno didn't have to worry about a crystal, so he went all out. Rill forgot about his crystal completely, and because of that, it broke and the match ended too early before he could finish, you know? Before he could complete his ultimate masterpiece, you know? And we don't know. We have no idea, actually, if Yuno would have been strong enough to fully win in just a battle of raw strength with Rill, you know? And this is also, though, this is Yuno with combined spirit magic, you know? Like, yes, this is the peak of Yuno's power, but that's also combined with Belle's power, you know? Rill, that's just all him, you know? And then that's also an interesting thing, is with how Yuno is, you would almost think he wouldn't like having Belle's power there, you know? But I think he is slowly starting to make her a part of him, you know? I mean, To the point that he literally makes her a part of him, you know? They joined, and she, you know, oh, she had a fucking climax because of that, you know? She basically just told Charmy to eat her heart out, you know? Which is a poor choice of words with Charmy, actually, because Charmy may think of that, you know? But that's not the point. Anywho. Yeah. So, it's an interesting thing having the crystal there. You know, it does remind me... I don't want to bring up Dragon Ball so much, and we're going to keep this to a shortened thing, but... this is not even Dragon Ball Z, this is the end of Dragon Ball. Which I know many Dragon Ball Z fans have not watched Dragon Ball because you're all fake fans. But at the end of Dragon Ball... At the end of Dragon Ball, you have Goku versus Piccolo Jr. in the World Martial Arts Tournament, and Goku, spoiler alert, wins with a ring out. He does not defeat Piccolo, you know, just in a battle of raw strength. I mean, it is a battle of raw strength, but he ultimately wins with a ring out, and he's happy about it. He's like, yeah, I won. That's a win in my book, you know? And so that's the thing, is like, you know, technically, won on a technicality because Rill was not keeping his magic in check around the crystal, therefore the crystal was destroyed, you know? Like, that is a technicality, but pushed Rill to that breaking point of the crystal, you know? Like, that wouldn't have happened if did not go all out in battling him. So, technically, yes, it is not just a clean victory of power levels or anything, but a win is a win in my book, you know? I definitely, like, when it comes to this stuff, a win is a win in my book, and that is a win. So yeah. So that's the end of the tournament. Oh, boy. So much happened with this fucking tournament, man. Now we have to move on to the next arc. I mean, we have to see who's going to be selected for the Royal Knights. Thank God Julius is choosing, because if the king was choosing, then he might just choose all the royals, because he didn't learn any lessons from this, you know? Like, he still hates the peasantry, he still wishes, the nobles had won and everything. He didn't learn a fucking lesson from this whole ordeal, you know? Even if he made one decent comment at the end, it's still... No, he still sucks. He still sucks. He's still too far up his own ass, you know. But at the same time, he understands that he's the only one up his ass. Like, no one else is. No one else, quite honestly, in the entire kingdom, I think, respects him, you know. Because even the other royals respect Julius more because he's the Wizard King, you know. And so that's the thing. And honestly, when they're all just kind of standing there, it's like, they could easily depose the monarchy. Not, like, I don't think they would kill them. They would just be like, yeah, we're stripping you of all your powers and stuff, and you're just going to be, you'll probably still, like, they would probably still let them be nobles, but it's just like, you're not running the country anymore. You're done. We only follow the Wizard King now. The Wizard King is the head of government now. They could do that. I think the only thing is, who's gonna be the first to step up, you know? I think that's the main thing, is like the Magic Knights. I think every single Magic Knight there, even someone like Langris, would rather the Wizard King be the actual king. I think even someone as far gone as Langris would have even said that, but nobody wants to be the first one to depose the king, okay? That's kind of the problem. But at the same time, the king here is not a dictator, like, we could put it like that. It's like, he's not the worst, he's just kind of an ass, like, there are far worse rulers in history than the king in Black Clover. So yeah, it's like, nobody wants to be the first one to depose the royalty, to depose the royal family and just make them nobles, Because that would be the thing, is I think they wouldn't just, take all their stuff and make them peasants, but I think they would just strip them of their royal titles and just make them nobility instead. So, but yeah. But anyway, but Yuno won. Yuno won, and Asta is now depressed that it wasn't him. This could have been it. This could have been the big thing. I mean, we don't know. We don't know if Asta could have beaten Yuno. And that is a crazy thing, you know? That's a crazy thing that Yuno's power is so immense that it's like, we don't know if Asta in his black form could have won, you know? But we'll have to see. Someday we're going to get a fight out of these two. So, oh boy. But yeah, and then at the end with Zora, I like that, you know, obviously the Wizard King clocked it immediately. He knew exactly who he was, and it's like, you know, hey, you know, it's not great it's not great how you entered this tournament, but it really is just like, hey, you are actually Magic Knight material, you know? You are absolutely worthy of being a Magic Knight. He could join the Black Bulls. I want him to join the Black Bulls, you know? Honestly, the Black Bulls, like, cloak would look really good on him, you know? But I do like, at the end, when he just says, like, oh, Zora? I don't know who that jerk is. I'm just someone passing through who couldn't be a super mage, you know? It's like, he doesn't, if anything, he almost doesn't want this higher calling and everything. He was just doing what he could, you know, what he thought was right. And I think that's the thing, because it's like, I really don't think he went searching for Magic Knights to depose. Like, it's not like, you know, the Hero Killer Stain or Scar from Full Metal Alchemist, you know? It's more that when he happened to find them, he would beat the shit out of them. But I don't think Zora was actively looking for them, you know? I think he just, whenever he ran into them, he ran into them, so. But I don't know, I guess, I mean, he still had to defeat the actual Zerks and, you know, take his, he took his cloak and then, you know, entered the tournament, so. I don't know, but it's interesting. I hope we get to see more of Zora in the future. So, but yeah, that is the end of the tournament arc. We are moving on to something else. So, yeah, that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Black Clover reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.